Welcome to Run With It, BC's only running, fitness, and health show. On this episode, we're in conversation with Natasha Wodak, who will be representing Canada in Rio in the 10,000-meter event. Plus, we have a segment on exercises runners can do without going to the gym. We'll also announce the winner who won a pair of Skechers running shoes. And we'll also have an online contest for your chance to win a pair of Skechers in case you missed our last contest. But first, let's go to our Train Like a Pro segment. With me in the studio is a very special guest, Jason Glass. Jason is a strength and conditioning coach specializing in rotational athletes. He has worked with players and consulted for teams in the NFL, NHL, and Major League Baseball, and works on the PGA Tour. He is the co-founder of the Tour Performance Lab Junior Golf Academy at Northview, and he is host of the Coach Glass podcast on iTunes. Welcome to Train Like a Pro, Jason.
Thank you for having me on the show, Christine.
So happy. But firstly, what does a rotational strength and conditioning coach do?
That's a great question, Christine, because quite often my wife will get asked, what does your husband do? And she can't describe it. It is actually a very unique position. We work with rotational athletes of any sport. And our goal is to try and make them more explosive, have more power, have more speed. And to do that, fitness is involved, but there's also a huge element of trying to find that 1% or that little element that they're lacking to put them into a world-class level.
So would it be like squats, for example, or?
Yeah, so squats would be a great example of an exercise, but squatting might help somebody's rotational power, but really it's about assessing their movements, trying to figure out how they currently move, and then improve their movement. So if squatting is an issue, sure, that would be a great exercise for them.
Well, how did you become one of the world's top coach?
You know what? That's a great question. Becoming world's top, it seems kind of funny because it's like if you work with certain athletes, then instantly they think, oh, you must be good. You know, if you work with the world's best, you must be the best. But there's a lot of great coaches, there's a lot of great trainers that do phenomenal work that I really respect, that work at such a local level. Like our Tour Performance Lab out in Northview, we have all these juniors that are high school kids that are trying to improve their golf, improve their athleticism. And to be honest with you, all the glamour of the PGA Tour and all that kind of fun stuff is great, but it's those juniors, like you make a difference in a young child and help them with their sport. There's so much more value in that. So yes, on the grand stage, you go, oh, you know, you've worked with some of the world's top athletes, but it's those are the people that mean the most in your career. Yeah, for sure.
And I'd like to touch upon that you were part of the team for the development athletes going to Rio. Absolutely.
I was a part of the Canadian National Golf Program. Golf Canada put together, and they're still going. It's a continuing program. I was with them for 5 years, and our job was to develop the future of golf. And what was really great is we had the opportunity to work with some amazing athletes, and some of them are going to Rio. But at the end of the day, it's, you know, we have the athlete, and I always think of myself as part of a pit crew. So if you use like a car analogy or a race car analogy, you have the athlete, and then the golf coach, in this case, because we're talking about golf, the golf coach is the driver of the car. So my job as a pit crew is to try and put a car together with the right tires, the right suspension, the right brakes, so that we can race around the track and have success. So really that's my role. It's really a background role in trying to create an athlete's body that can really sustain a long season and also perform at the highest level.
And it's a rewarding job.
It's fantastic. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, with Adam Hadwin, you're working with right now, and you've worked with Brooke Henderson.
Yeah.
So how do you become at that level, being top of their game?
Well, you really, like anything in anybody's career, you always start at the bottom. You know, I started locally. I was working as a head strength coach for University of British Columbia, their golf program. We had huge success. Then I went to the provincial program, started working with those athletes, and then to the national level, and then now on to the PGA Tour. But in a way, you're almost following your athletes. You know, as they're developing, you're moving on to the next level. But, you know, it's really fantastic to see the rise and the success of Brooke Henderson recently winning her first major. What a great thing for Canada. And now she's going to be going off to Rio. And we couldn't ask for a better ambassador of the game. She's just one of the nicest people I've ever met, and a fantastic athlete.
And you were part of the team. Right?
Yeah. I mean, again, it's a real large group of physiotherapists, trainers, mental coaches, golf coaches, nutritionists. There's a whole team of people that are behind these athletes that you see in any sport. But the Olympics, we're very proud of the work we did over the last few years.
And Jason, can you give us some golf tips?
Absolutely. This is one of my favorite
Since we're talking
things.
about golf.
There's nothing like going to a dinner party and someone says, hey, can you give me a golf tip? And I haven't seen your golf swing. I would say the number one golf tip coming from my part of the industry is just making sure that your body's moving properly. And what I mean by that is to effectively swing a golf club, you should be able to touch your toes. You should be able to squat without pain. You should be able to rotate your T-spine over 45 degrees in both directions. So there's like some basic movements that you should be able to do. And what I found is some of the biggest changes I've made in my athletes is just removing barriers that they had that were keeping them from playing their best game. So just not even, everybody thinks about performance stuff like jumping and bounding and 180-degree jumps up benches and stuff. Really, just removing some of those limitations has had bigger change in our athletes than any kind of performance thing that we could add to it.
That's great, and keeping your eye on the ball.
Keep your eye on the ball. So that would be my second. That'd be my second tip: is keep the eye on the ball.
But Jason, tell us a little bit about your show.
Yes. Yeah, the Coach Glass podcast is something I started 2 years ago, and it was just a kind of a portal for me to get my training techniques out. And it evolved over 2 years. We're 140 episodes in, and we have over 250,000 downloads from all over the world, which is really cool. When you see somebody in Iceland or something like that that's listening to your podcast, it's great. But really, that's really an entry point for anything to do with human performance, be it better nutrition, sleep habits, just anything to do with performance. That's what we're going to tackle on that show. So it comes out every Wednesday on iTunes.
That's great.
Yeah,
People want to tune in. Where can they go?
Well, you can go to iTunes,
yes.
But really go to jasonglassperformancelab.com. jasonglassperformancelab.com is the website, and then you have all the blogs that go along with it. But I have to warn you, the podcast is something that I call edumatainment. So it's education, but there's also entertainment involved. So it's a little bit of fun. So
that's fun.
Yeah, be prepared. It's a lot of fun.
Be prepared, and thank you so much for coming on the show, Jason.
Oh, it's been my pleasure.
I'd like to have you come back.
Absolutely, I'd love to. Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hi, I'm Four Corners, and you're watching Run With It.
Joining me is Bianca Solderbeck, host of Go, and Jim Deal, the owner and founder of Compound Fitness. And they're both here today to talk about personal training and how important it is and for your overall fitness. So welcome to Run With It.
Thank you.
Bianca, how do you stay fit?
Well, it's a great question. Christine, I've done it all. I've done bar classes, spin classes, I've gone to the gym, and I thought personal trainers were for celebrities. Like, honestly, I didn't even think about it, and then a friend of mine got into it, and she said, this is totally doable, go 2 sessions a week, and that's what I started doing with Jim about 5 weeks ago, and it's so great because unlike a class where you're in this big group of people, you get that individual, attention, and you're doing things right the first time, and unlike being at the gym alone and trying to figure out how to use that ball or the weights, everything is leading to getting stronger.
Exactly. So what are the benefits so far for you with having Jim right here?
Maybe Jim wants to answer that question. How have I progressed?
Well, initially when we start off on any process, the immediate goals are to increase the efficiency of movement and then start to train the energy systems. So the initial focus is never the aesthetic, which is what most people come in wanting. And we actually work the other way and end up getting more on the aesthetic side from that. So short sessions, a lot of efficiency, very concise.
There are many benefits, and we're going to go through some exercises today, right? And you're going to show us how to do that. But Bianca, a question I have, you feel more energized, right? And you feel like you're doing it the right way, and it's really beneficial to have a personal trainer.
That's right, and that's the other thing. We do half-hour sessions, which I also didn't even realize worked that well. Sometimes I think when you go into an hour, you think, "Whoa, we have so much time." But in our half-hour sessions, I couldn't do any longer because we're going the whole time. It's a different exercises, like every 5 or 10 minutes. I don't have to think. I just, do what he tells me to, and I feel like, just like Jim said, like I went in saying like, "Oh, can I look this way?" and whatnot. But it feels so good to have the extra energy and to feel strong. And I think a lot of people don't think about that.
No, so she's a good student, Jim.
Absolutely. And a lot of people come in again with those goals, but what they don't realize is how rewarding the actual process is. So coming in and learning how to use your body effectively and how that carries over into everyday life. So that initial aesthetic goal of looking a certain way kind of becomes so secondary or tertiary when you realize what the bigger picture is and what you can actually get out of it.
That's wonderful, and it's good for runners.
Absolutely.
So, speaking, we're going to go through some exercises today, and so let's go to it. Okay. Jim, now you're going to take us through some exercises today, and I'm really pumped, excited. So let's go to it.
Absolutely, Christine. Thank you for that. So today we're going to talk about a few key exercises. They all have a different focus. The first one is going to create a little bit more mobility in the body. So what generally happens is we live sedentary lifestyles where we sit a lot. That's how we make a lot of our money. And then we get up and we try and do these activities, and people end up usually injured, usually more chronically, where things start to develop over time. So the first exercise, we're going to take a big split squat. Now what that means is we're going to bring one foot way behind, and we're going to go really light on that toe. So that heel is going to be off the ground. Now from there, we're going to try and elevate the chest up. Ooh. And then suck in the belly button a little bit, so suck in that navel. And from there, we're going to slowly drop with the hands in front, and trying to drive the hips back. Now, this is going to do a couple things. One, it's going to open up that hip flexor, which is at the front of the thigh, which causes a lot of those issues that we get.
Christine, do you
I
feel
can
that?
feel it.
And also, it's going to help prep the legs, and this can even be turned into a strength exercise by adding dumbbells or things like that. Wow. Now, a few key notes on this. Try and make sure that you do sit the hips back, control your breathing, and keep your abdomen tight. And by keeping your abdomen tight, I mean suck in that navel and then flex the stomach. Now, we're going to bring in just a toner or a stretch cord that has handles on it. Now these guys are great because very inexpensive. You can pick one up for around 10 bucks, and it creates a lot of variety, and it's very mobile. You can throw it in your pocket or throw it in your bag and use it anywhere. So Bianca, I'm going to get you to actually step through this guy and get into a squat stance. So next, she's going to bring the handles up to shoulder height with palms facing in, and what we're going to get into is a simple squat to press. Now, the reason this is a great exercise, it is a huge, what's called a metabolic demand, which means you're using a lot of muscle groups, you're burning a lot of calories, as well as it brings in a lot of key movements. So she's going to start with the squat. With that, we drive the knees apart, hips down, keeping the chest nice and tall. And then to bring up, we're going to drive the knees apart, bring it up, and go into our press. Pause at the press at the top when the elbows are fully extended. Bring the hands down slowly. Pause there. And then drop down and repeat. And always remember, with these exercises, when you're exerting force, you want to breathe out. Okay? On the opposite portion of the movement, you want to breathe in. So she would breathe in on the way down, out on the way up. Nice work on that.
Great. Oh. And these are exercises you can do without going to the gym.
That's right.
Absolutely. And with an exercise like this, you want to start relatively slowly. You don't need a lot of resistance. Focus on making sure that you're mechanically sound. About 10 reps would be great. 30 seconds between each set. So 2 to 3 sets of about 10 repetitions.
Wonderful. Now, I want to thank you very much for both coming on the show. I feel energized, even just doing a couple of exercises, and we'll be right back. With me in the studio is Natasha Wodak. Natasha is a Canadian record holder for 10,000 meters and 8K. She is a professional distance runner for ASICS Canada, and Natasha will be representing Canada in Rio in the 10,000 meter event. Welcome to the show, Natasha.
Thank you for having me.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, tell us, how excited were you when you were selected for Team Canada?
It's still pretty surreal. It's definitely life-changing. It's very exciting. I kind of, 14 months ago, I ran the Olympic standard, and so since then it was sort of a waiting game. Like, were other girls going to run faster than me? Was I going to stay healthy? So when I finally got the email on Monday that I'd been officially selected to the team, it was just like this relief, like, because I had just not known. So, and then the next day I woke up, I'm like, I'm going to the Olympics. So it was really exciting. Yeah.
What was going through your mind when you read that email? Oh my gosh, I have to tell everybody, my family,
you know what? Most people already kind of knew.
Yes.
They didn't realize that there was still a chance that I wouldn't be selected. And they just were like, oh, well, you're ranked first, but it doesn't matter, right? You know, that's not how it works in Canada. So there was a chance I couldn't be selected. So when I read the email, it was 1:30 in the morning.
1:30?
When I got the email, yeah. It was just literally, relief. And then I could, I texted my mom, I texted my coach, I just texted them both, I'm in, and they were like, yes, and then I went back to sleep, so.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
and, your family must be very proud of you, and your sponsors, like, it's just an amazing achievement. And this is your first Olympics, right?
Yes.
Natasha?
Yeah.
And tell us about your training. How hard was it to get there? Or was it?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm 34 years old and this is my first Olympics, so it's been a long road and a lot has happened. There's been a lot of times where I've wanted to give up, and I did. I quit for 3 years after college, but I always had this passion, and it was always, I had a heart for running, and I came back to it I just love what I do, and I knew there was more in me. And so every year since, I started back running in 2006, I just kept improving. And there was still a lot of stuff that went on, and it was really hard, but I had so much support from my family and my coach, and I have the most amazing sponsors like ASICS Canada, Smith Optics, CEP, Innovative Fitness, which is a personal training company here in Vancouver. Absolutely amazing. I train with them twice a week. So it's not just about the running that I do, it's the other things that I do that keep me strong and stay away from being injured. So I do a lot of strength training, core, all that kind of stuff to make sure that I'm strong so I can run fast.
And that's important, cross-training too.
Yeah, doing all this stuff on the side,
Yes.
the strength training, the physio exercises, the cross-training, everything.
Nutrition.
Nutrition, yes.
Yes.
That's my weakness, but it's been something I've really had to work on because it's so important.
I like your quote on your website, dreams do come true.
Yes.
Well, here you are, your dream.
I know.
And what would you tell someone who's watching the show who wants to follow in your footsteps?
Never give up. There's going to be
give up.
huge obstacles, and if it was easy, everyone would do it. So just stay focused, stay determined, and never give up.
And Natasha, that's well said. How do you expect to do in Rio?
You know what? I'm just so happy to be going and be healthy. I would like to compete well and finish knowing I had the best race I could. That being said, I don't have a placing goal. I just want to run the best race of my life, and if that places me well, that places me well. If it doesn't, at least I know I ran the fastest I possibly could on that day. So.
Exactly, and your dream has come true.
Absolutely.
Will it be another Olympics, do you think?
Like I said, I'm 34 years old, but Krista Duchesne is 39 years old, and she is representing Canada in the marathon this summer. So I do think I could do another 4 years and perhaps jump up to the marathon.
Yeah, because you have such a passion for running.
I absolutely do.
And were you wondering about the Zika virus? Were you, is that crossing your mind?
No, you know what? Team Canada is taking very good care of the athletes, and I have no doubt that if they were worried, we wouldn't be going. And they're taking good care of us, and we're taking all the right precautions, so I think that we'll be fine.
Exactly. And when do you leave?
I fly to Rio on August the 8th.
August the 8th. So you'll be taking lots of pictures.
Tons of pictures.
Tons of pictures. And what is next for you after the Olympics? I know that you're not even probably thinking about that right now, but...
Well, you know what? I'm lucky that my race is the first day of track and field on August the 12th, and I'm there until the 23rd. So I get to enjoy the Olympics.
Nice.
I get to go watch a bunch of stuff. My family's going to be there. I'm just going to enjoy that time. And when I get home, take a bit of time off and then do it all over again. Start training for, World Championships next summer, and then Commonwealth Games is following. There's always something to train.
You have certainly a lot of goals, short-term, long-term goals,
yes,
Natasha.
Always. Goals are important.
Yes, I like the fact when you told the viewers when you'll be on, so that's good. And people who want to follow you or check you out, where can they go?
My website,
yes.
natashawodak.com, and on there you can find my Instagram, my Twitter, my Snapchat, everything's on there. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you for coming back on the show. I'd like to have you back, I should say.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Recently, we held a contest for your chance to win a pair of Skechers running shoes. The question was, when are the America's Masters Games? The answer is August 27th to September 4th. We did a random draw, and the winner is Bill Chang. Congratulations, Bill. On this month's show, we have a contest, online contest, for your chance to win a pair of Skechers running shoes. The question is, who was the last Canadian to win a medal in the Olympic 100-meter final? To enter, simply go to our Facebook page on the screen. And good luck. With me in the studio, I have a very special guest, artist Four Corners, and he is the official DJ of the Toronto Raptors. Yes, Toronto Raptors, and he's here to talk about his music and his healthy lifestyle. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, so tell us about how did you become the official DJ of the Toronto Raptors?
Actually, I've been doing shows in and around Toronto at the time for a while, and at one of my shows, the vice president of marketing from the team, the company that owns the team, saw the performance and loved it and asked me to come in and with my partner at the time and do an audition and asked if we'd be interested in that. And I love basketball. Obviously, I love music, so it was perfect. Of course, I said yes right away.
Yes, and so was your passion always for DJing music?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Well, music, yes. Music has been in my life since I can remember. My dad was a musician. It's just always been around. He's always had a great record collection. But sports was my thing. I played a lot of sports in high school, especially. I was really into basketball specifically. And then when this came around, it seemed like the perfect opportunity.
What an opportunity to, perform in front of 20,000 people, fans?
Yeah, every game, 20,000 people, countless times, like maybe 50, 60 times a year.
Oh my goodness, so how do you get the audience going? It takes a lot of energy, so how do you maintain a healthy lifestyle?
I try my best to eat healthy, especially when I'm traveling. It gets difficult sometimes. It's challenging to be on the run and be in airports and having to get not McDonald's or anything like any other fast food. So I try my best to just eat at health. Like just now, I just finished having chicken and salad instead of having the fried chicken. Okay. So you just try to make those healthy choices in between to keep the energy up, because I have to be on when I'm on stage all the time.
So exercising and eating right helps you to keep energized for the show, because it's like 20,000 fans watching. Are you ever nervous?
I used to be. I've been doing this for a long time now, so it's not so much the nerves anymore, more of an excitement. But when I first started, I was like, I was playing with records and I'm putting the needle on the record and my hand was shaking like this and I'm looking around hoping that nobody sees me. I don't want to make a mistake. I feel like it'll be the end of the world. But as just like anything else, once you become a professional at doing it and doing enough, you realize that even if a small mistake happens, it's not the end of the world. You make ways to get through it. So no more nerves.
I have to ask you, why are you called Four Corners?
Everybody always asks that question. And people, before they see me, they think that there's 4 members, and they assume Four Corners is 4 people. It's actually just me. At one time, it actually was 4 people, but it's been whittled away over the years to now it's just being me, and it's been me for about maybe 3 years now, solo. Mainly, I always wanted to travel, and I'd always heard the expression, the 4 corners of the earth, so I figured I would make that a reality. If I make it my name, it's kind of like a vision board, that's what I want to do. And now that's who I am, and that's what I do.
You are a world traveler, Kirk, 20 countries, right? And so how do you describe your music? You're from Toronto, right?
Yes.
So it's from your roots, right? Pop, funk, but it's also from music that you've picked up from traveling. Absolutely.
Being born and raised in Toronto, it's such a culturally diverse city that there's influences from all over the place all the time. My parents are from Trinidad, so I have the West Indian, Caribbean influence. And then since I've been traveling, I've come across all kinds of different sounds that I'd never been exposed to, like in the Middle East or in Asia or in parts of Europe, where I now find new things that I really like, and I infuse them into my music, into my DJ sets, and into the music that I make, so that what I do now, it just becomes more and more unique, it seems, to other people, because it's just a bunch of stuff put together that they're not used to hearing. Like if I go to France and I hear a new artist, and I come back and start playing that artist in Canada, people are like, well, what is this? I've never heard this before. I'm the guy to bring it.
That's awesome. Now you, food too. I mean, you get to try all types of food. Do you have a favorite dish?
I do not. I love food so much. I actually have a hashtag Eat with Kirk that I use on my Instagram. And I go to restaurants all over the world and I always take pictures of the food. I mean, a lot of people do that, but like I do it for the purpose of my Eat with Kirk hashtag, and it's become a thing now that people kind of on my social media expect me to do that.
Oh, that's cool. I'll have to follow then.
Yeah.
And but tell us about your congratulations on being the 2016 NBA DJ for the All-Star Game.
Thank you.
How did that come about?
Well, the All-Star Game was hosted in Toronto for the first time this year, and being that that's my house, I was called upon to be the DJ. I actually did it with the Miami Heat DJ, DJ Irie, who's a veteran. He was actually the first ever NBA DJ. He's been doing it for over 15 years. So the two of us did it. He just did a little segment and I did the bulk of it because it was in Toronto. And honestly, one of the best experiences of my life. The All-Star Game is like everybody is there. Everybody in all of the entertainment world, all the top basketball players, and I got to be the guy playing the music.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show,
Thank you
and
for having me.
I'd like you to come back.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for watching. If you have a question or comment about today's show, go to our website on the screen. For past episodes of Run With It, go to our YouTube channel at Run With It CB1 or follow me on Twitter at Christine Runs. Until next time, run with it. Run With It is sponsored by Be Well TV, Firma Energy Wear, Hype Hair, Mallory's Fashion Network, Nike Canada, Skechers Performance Canada, and West Coast Wellness and Skin Health Center.